In today's video, I'm going to walk you guys through installing a set of 2.5 RS door panels. I'll review all the components needed, which includes using butyl tape to create a perimeter seal around the door, installing a plastic moisture barrier, which is a really important step, and all the miscellaneous hardware needed to install these door panels the way Subaru did from the factory.
This is my little SubaruONLY shop. It's a DIY Subaru channel. It's a channel where all I do is Subaru builds and race Subaru vehicles in motorsport events. It's a DIY themed channel where I walk you guys through the steps to get your Subarus back on the road and hopefully do a little racing of your own. So thanks for checking out the video, guys. I really appreciate it.
Okay guys, let's dive right in. The first step is going to be this butyl sealing tape. What is this stuff? This stuff is actually like this rubber sticky stuff that stays soft and pliable over time, and it's actually a great water seal. And that's actually the factory sealing material that Subaru uses to install their moisture barriers on their door panels. As you guys can see right there in the background, my door frame doesn't actually have a moisture barrier. A moisture barrier is that plastic liner that goes over the metal frame, and that actually prevents the moisture from making it from the exterior of the vehicle into the interior of the vehicle and kind of interacting with your door panel and causing your door panel to absorb that moisture and to accelerate the wear and tear on the fabric. So having a moisture barrier is a really important piece to have to preserve those door panels. And for these two-door coupes, these door panels are becoming more and more rare, so you definitely want to have this moisture barrier with these door panels. Okay, so that's the first step. We'll install the butyl sealing tape. That's actually the tape that's going to hold that moisture barrier. And then here, guys, these are actually the brackets we're going to use for the door panel. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. If you guys don't actually have your moisture barrier, you can actually just use plastic drop cloth. I picked this up from Ace. It's pretty straightforward stuff. It's just their heavy-duty version, and it's a 3 mil thickness. Pick up the thickest thickness you can get, at least about 3 or 4 mil. And then right here, these are just kind of the door handle trim panels. We'll kind of install those towards the end. And then of course, these are the window switches, and we'll talk about these when we install them a little bit later too. But like I said, step one will be installing this butyl sealing tape. Okay guys, we're here on the driver's side door. I've got some butyl tape right here. This stuff is actually made by X-Fasten butyl sealing tape. It's black, 3/4 inch by 30 feet long. 30 feet should be plenty of length that you need to do both doors. And as a matter of fact, there should be a little bit left over to do other areas in this car, like the rear tail lights. That's another spot that the factory actually used butyl tape to seal out that moisture from getting into the interior of the car. And I actually bought this butyl tape off Amazon, and I actually included it on my SubaruONLY Amazon store. So if you guys want to find out a little bit more information about this butyl tape and how much it costs, I'll actually include a link in the description below. Okay, so what's the game plan? Basically open this stuff up, and you're basically just going to do a ring of this butyl tape around the door. You'll probably see where the old butyl tape is. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to cover up these little holes that the clips are going to go into for that door panel. And basically the way you guys apply it is you just kind of work it around. It's kind of like a soft, flexible, pliable kind of rubbery material. Alright guys, if you take a closer look here at this butyl tape, I'll show you guys kind of where it overlaps and how you make these little butts. Basically, the way you do the overlaps, you just kind of like make sure you don't have a gap, like this spot right here. So basically right here, I'm going to want to make sure I pull that down and just kind of create a nice little corner right there. It doesn't matter if you have a little bit of a raised surface, because this is just for that clear plastic. So like that, that's how you want to make those little overlaps right there, just like that. Make sure you have that butyl tape all the way around, a nice complete seal. Another quick tip I'll mention is you guys might see in the time lapse that I actually use a little bit of soapy water and clean this metal a little bit better to get the metal really free of any oil and debris. And then another thing I used in the time lapse that you guys probably noticed was I actually got a heat gun out and I actually added a little bit of heat to the metal surface and a little bit of heat to this butyl tape. That actually helps promote the adhesion. Anytime you heat up a metal surface, or really any surface, you actually open up the pores of that surface. And when you open up the pores of a surface, the level of adhesion for a tape or a glue or any other material you're laying down on that metal will actually be much, much better. So anytime you guys are trying to get any kind of sticky material or any kind of adhesive material to stick to a product, add a little bit of heat. And actually the same goes in the opposite direction. Anytime you want to remove a sticky material, you can actually add cold to that adhesive product. And that cold, for example, dry ice works really good to remove sound deadening material. That cold actually breaks that bond and actually helps you remove that adhesive material. And after you've done all your butyl tape, you can go ahead and peel it all off. And then we're going to go ahead and lay down that clear plastic sheet. And then we should have our moisture barrier completely installed. For the moisture barrier, I just picked up this plastic drop cloth from Ace Hardware. This is a heavy duty version, and it's actually 3 mils thick. You want to make sure you get something that's actually got a little bit of thickness to it. I'd say 2 or 3 mils is probably good enough, but stay away from that 1/2 mil thickness stuff. That stuff is going to be too thin. Okay, so let's go ahead and bust this stuff out, and we're going to lay it down on that butyl tape. Alright guys, I've got this moisture barrier completely installed. One thing I'll mention is that you're going to have to cut out little holes for those plugs that are going to go to your window control and your door lock controls. And then last, you're going to cut out a spot for your speaker, and you want to make sure you have a ring of that butyl tape around the speaker. And another little trick, if you guys are using this butyl tape, it's a flat strip, fold that little 3/4 inch flat strip of butyl tape over on itself and turn it into a little rope. That way you can kind of wind it around curved sections a little bit easier. And for this door handle, you definitely need to cut this door handle out of the plastic as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and real carefully cut out a little box for this door handle. This razor blade is not sharp enough. And then we'll add a little bit of butyl tape around this little door handle as well. Just kind of keep everything completely sealed off from that exterior moist air. Okay, left door bracket. And incidentally, I think you can actually buy the right side from the dealership still, but this left one, I think they're out of dealer stock. That's my finding, so let me know if you guys find these left ones anywhere out there. Technically, I think these brackets are actually installed underneath this moisture barrier, guys. So if you want to do it the factory way, install this bracket first underneath the moisture barrier. I'm actually going to install it over the moisture barrier, and I don't think it's going to make all that big a difference. As long as you can still see the locations. Those are little square little holes in the metal door that this bracket goes into. So the way this bracket works is if I flip it over, it's got these little inserts that kind of pop into those square holes. And then once you install the screw actually spreads out those inserts and holds this bracket into the metal door frame a little bit tighter. So I'm going to do this on the outside of the moisture barrier, which I don't think is the way they did it from the factory. But I don't think that's going to really make a difference, as long as it doesn't damage the moisture barrier, and I don't think it will. Okay, now that we have this little bracket popped in, we can put one of the screws in. The screw in the top hole actually goes in now underneath the door panel. And then this hole right here and this hole right here, the screws that go into those holes actually go through the door panel. And here are those 2 holes that the screws are actually screw into that bracket. There's one hole right here, that's where this larger screw is going to go. And then there's another hole over here, and that's where you use one of these screws. And in addition to those 2 screws, this door panel is held in with a bunch of clips on the back. So let's flip this sucker over and take a look at all those clips. Okay, I've got the door panel flipped over, and you can see there's a bunch of different clips right here. Here's one of the pink clips. That's a little bit different style clip than the other clips on the door panel. Along the bottom here is a bunch of these white clips. So make sure you got a clip in each one of these locations, and these clips will actually pop out. They're pretty easy to replace. Let me just see if I can do this with one hand right here. Boom. So this is kind of the design of these clips. They can slide into a little slot like we have in the door panel right here, and then this side pops into that hole in the metal door frame. And then the top actually doesn't use clips. It uses a slightly different design. It actually uses this little C-clip design that's built into this little felt panel. So there's a C-clip right there, and then as you move down over here, there's another C-clip right here. And this little C-clip actually clips into a little lip on the top of that little metal door frame. And then last but not least, there's a little hole right here. That's actually for a little barbed clip. So you put that in last after this door panel is completely installed. Okay, so it looks like I've got all my clips. So let's go ahead and raise this door panel, drop it in location, pop it into all these little holes for all these little clips, and then screw in those 2 screws. And then after the panel's installed, we'll make sure those plugs are sticking out so we can plug them into this little window switch and this little door lock switch. And then this little switch will actually pop right into this door panel. It's got little clips right here on the front and in the back of this little switch, as you can see right there. So this little switch just pops into a little slot. And then the last piece will be this little trim piece. This is a little trim piece that goes over where the handle is. And this will be one of the final pieces for this door panel. Now that I have the moisture barrier installed, I have all the areas cut out that I need to have cut out, and I have all the clips installed in the right locations on this door panel, this sucker is ready to be installed. So I'm going to go ahead and lift it up, put it up and over this little metal lip on the top right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and screw it in on these 2 locations right here on the door handle that need to be screwed in, and then I'll clip in all the plastic clips around the perimeter. Once you have the door panel partially installed, you want to go ahead and make sure all those little plastic clips are lined up with those metal holes in the metal door frame. That's the most important part, and that's the trickiest part, because those little plastic clips can kind of move around a little bit when you're installing this door panel. So basically get down, get underneath this door panel, and make sure all those plastic clips are lining up with the holes before you push everything down and try to lock it in place. This is a trim piece that goes around a little latch to open the door. This piece actually just snaps right in, right around that little door handle. Boom. You guys might notice in there, that's actually a little stainless steel screw. I actually upgraded that from the factory black one. Okay, and there's two more little spots that have little trim pieces for them. These are these two little spots right here. First one right here on the left, that's this little piece right here. It's a little square piece. It's got that kind of wrinkled finish, so it looks a little bit like the vinyl in the rest of the vehicle. And this piece actually has a little indication on the back that tells you which way is up. So you just slide that little sucker in there and lock it in place. And then this is the last little piece. This is a little plastic trim piece as well. That's this little guy right here. And these are actually specific to the right and the left side. And they actually say on the back if they're the right and the left side. This one actually says L for left right there, and then it actually has up and a little arrow. So let's go ahead and snap that guy in as well. Bam. And with that last little piece, you guys are looking at a fully installed 2.5 RS door panel. It's been a long journey to get to this point, but this door panel and the rest of this interior is finally back in this car the way it belongs. Thank you guys for joining me in this video. Thanks for joining me on this interior restoration series. If you guys need any parts or any maintenance items for Subaru, make sure you check out my SubaruONLY Amazon store, and you can actually see a link in the description below. Also, if you guys need any factory service manuals or any technician service guides, check out my SubaruONLY.com webpage. I've got a huge archive of service manuals and technician guides. It's all free, and I've got it for every make and model of Subaru from the early 1990s through 2020. So thanks again for checking out the video, guys. I really appreciate it. My name's Luke. You guys are watching the SubaruONLY channel. Until next time, guys. Later! Thanks again for watching this video, guys. As you guys know, I'm a diehard Subaru enthusiast. And I've also had the opportunity to be involved in motorsports for over 2 decades now. But I'm also a professional hydrogeologist, and I've actually spent years in laboratories performing experiments where I studied the flow of fluids using the properties of physics and fluid mechanics. In these YouTube videos, I'm actually able to combine my experience from the laboratories and all the research I've done with my experience from all the motorsport series I've been involved in and my passion for Subarus. If you have any professional inquiries about Subaru-related R&D or digital marketing and media, you can contact me at SubaruONLYshop@gmail.com. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope to hear from you soon.